morning. How y'all doing today? Well, my name's Tom. Well, I'm just a rambling Christian. If this is the first time you've been here, please stick around. We look at things a little different around here. And typically, I like to ramble before I get started. So, now, I tell you that day 5 is coming to an end, and we're headed off into day 6. Now, day 6 is the day that Adam is created. Now, Adam is created both in flesh and in spirit. There's a duplicity to that. One Adam, one Cain of flesh, and one Abel, Adam of spirit. One Seth. Abel is kind of not there. But when we approach day 6, now Adam in the spirit, I tell you, Adam is a nation. Adam lived and died, but his spirit is over a nation. Well, over us, the father of all flesh, Adam. The first man in flesh, the first to rise in death. All this. So that's Adam. Adam's coming back. Adam lived for 930 years. Adam will live 70 years when he steps back in the flesh. But you don't start dying until you step out of the garden, right? You don't. Okay. So, Adam is a representation of the Lord of this world. Now, we've discussed that Job is in charge of here. David is in charge of Palestine. Solomon is in charge of Islam. Saul has the Jews, and the harlot rules here. But Job sits on the throne, the harlot rules. David sits on the throne. Solomon sits on the throne, David rules. Something like that, and all that. So, but, they're man lying with man over there. And over here, it's man lying with the harlot. So day 6 is coming when Adam is created. And Adam is given all authority over the birds of the air, the flock, the beasts of the field, those just staying here, and of the fish of the sea. Now, the fish of the sea includes all the religions. That's the fish in the sea. The hedge, well, the sea has a hedge. It's called dry land. It's, they're right at the shoreline. They're not coming out here into the garden. They're just hanging in the waters all the time. And they're drowning. That's what fish do, right? And swine drown too. All this stuff. We just don't put it together. And the thing I started at was I feared that if I didn't follow the 10 Commandments, I'd be put in hell, right? How stupid was I? Follow the 10 Commandments. It's so hard. Every time you tell people that we're subjected to the law, they go, what is that? You're going to follow all 586 laws? How stupid. It says listen to the voice. It says that through the whole Old Testament. Listen to the voice. The voice. They're always disobedient because they didn't listen to the voice. Every time. They didn't listen to the voice. And then right after that, my commandments. So, didn't obey my voice, my commandments, and my testimonies, things like this, and my statutes. But, so simple, a child could understand that, obey my voice. Well, the only time God spoke to the house of Israel was at Mount Sinai, and he did it himself. Everybody trembled. They backed away from the mountain. Scaredy little cowards. That's who got to cross. No, those are who died, right? All them cowards who backed away from their father. The ones who hid behind the blood died in the desert. 40 years in the desert. That's sad. But today we're going to look at Isaiah again. You know I'm slow, always. But anyway, we'll look at Isaiah 4 and 5. I'm going to try and get to the Gnostics, so I'm going to keep my rambling down a little bit, hopefully. But you know, it's not my way, but his way. So we're going to start in 4. And it says, and in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man. Now the 7 women are the demons cast out of Mary. The one man is Peter. Okay. Now those 7 demons: Catholicism, Lutheran, Methodist, Seventh-day Adventist, Baptist, Pentecostal, and who else is in there? Just 7. Dog it, I had it all. I had all 7. Oh well, but you get the idea. Okay? Those are the 7 demons. The church, all them little independent guys. Oh, Church of Christ, maybe? Nah. Church of Christ is very, it's my Pentecostals, Church of Christ, Seventh-day Adventists, Methodists, Lutherans, Catholics, and pretty close. That's got to be everybody. But all that, you know, it's all, oh, we got the only way. They're all going to hell, and all that. And Jesus says, he who is not against me is for me. They're all for Jesus, every one of them. But yet, even though they claim Jesus, they're going to hell because they wear long sleeves. They may have hair on their face. They may listen to music. They may not listen to music. This is the little pettiness within the body of Christ. A house divided does not stand. He sent 7 angels to the churches. That's a house divided. Only one's in charge, the Father. And he told you that. Only those who do the will of the Father in heaven will ever see heaven. And apparently, you don't like doing the will of the Father in heaven. You like to hide behind your brother. Too much work out there. Yeah, have to suffer. Now, we will eat our own food and wear our own apparel. They control the meat you eat. You can't use the Old Testament because all that's dead and gone. You can't verify. Some dude called the Old Testament the serpent's Bible to me. You validate that through the serpent's Bible. I'd never heard that before. The serpent's Bible is the New Testament, though. That's, the prophecies here in the New Old Testament were written way before them prophecies in the New Testament. And they match exactly what this says, like they copied them word for word. To me, there is nothing in the New Testament that cannot be found in the Old. Verify all things. What do you verify all things with? The Word of God, the Old Testament, not the New Testament, because Jesus ain't God. He's the God of sinners. That's the only people he calls. So those are his people, sinners. It's just that simple. Only let us be called by your name. Christians. Let us be called by your name. Christians. To take away our reproach. So if I come in and I call myself a Christian, I'm sin free. The whole daggone world's sin free. Because all sin for all time, for everybody. So Any sin I commit tomorrow is already forgiven. Any sin I committed yesterday was already forgiven. Same with them. It's for everybody. And except those called. They're sinners. They go against that. All sin is forgiven. They go against that. In that day, the branch of the Lord shall be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and appealing. The branch is Jesus, right? For those of Israel who have escaped, you want to escape before day 6 and before the Sabbath. That's what Jesus said. You want to escape before the Sabbath, right? And then winter's coming. This is the winter coming, day 6. The Sabbath is day 7. So those are the 2 days you want to get the heck up and out of here before. Yeah, but so few will do the will of the Father. Now, if they're just willy-nilly doing the will of the Father in heaven, they're going to be, well, with the Father in heaven, not the Father that is heaven. Big difference. There's 2 different ones. One that's in heaven and one that is heaven. Only let us be called by your name. Now, how sad, man. This is exactly Christians, right? But this is gone. And it shall come to pass that he who is left in Zion and remains in Jerusalem will be called holy, everyone who is recorded among the living in Jerusalem. Yeah, you'll be holy. You'll be called holy. When the Lord has washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, the 7 angels to the churches, and purged the blood of Jerusalem from her midst. The blood of Jerusalem from her midst by the spirit of judgment, Jesus Christ, and by the spirit of burning, holy fire. Then the Lord will create above every dwelling place of Mount Zion and above her assemblies a cloud and smoke by day and the shining of a flaming fire by night. For over all the glory there will be a covering. Now this here, it says, I'll create above every dwelling place of Mount Zion and above her assemblies a cloud. Now this is that between the separation of the pyramid. That line in there, the pyramid is still one. But there's that cloud, that part of darkness that they can't see past. He's going to put it, that's that hedge right there, that spiritual eye. They can't see it. And the shining of the flaming fire by night. Now that's coming, and that flaming fire is a flaming sword, right? For over all the glory there will be a covering. They're covered. I say that all the time. The flock is covering over the glory, the flock, the birds of the air. And there will be a tabernacle for shade in the daytime from the heat, for a place of refuge, and for a shelter from storm and rain. Now that's a dude coming. That's going to be, well, that's the shelter. For those who escape. Now let me sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved regarding his vineyard. My well-beloved has a vineyard. Now who has a vineyard? Jesus is the only one in here who has a vineyard, right? So this is Jesus, his beloved, right? The Lord of this world has a son named Cain. The spirit, Adam, has a son named Seth. So, one like Adam, one who walks with God. So, my well-beloved has a vineyard on a very fruitful hill. He dug it up and cleared it out of stones. Now, that's all the demons cast into the swine, drowning in the holy water. That's the cleaning up, the call. Call you by name. He's pulling you out. All the weeds are bundled in buildings, and planted it with the choicest vine. He built a tower in its midst, the Tower of Babel. Now that would be church. They speak with a forked tongue. They're babbling fools. They're a bunch of wise men, wolves in sheep's clothing. All this that scripture says exactly is in there. They're babblers. They have no truth. It's not some building, that's to the heavens. And I've heard people say that was to build to like a dimensional portal gate that you could get out. You're locked in. You ain't going nowhere. Ever. Till you submit to the truth. The truth. That's hard to do for so many. And so many out there on the right called the left have no truth. The left are closer to the truth than the right will ever be. What is good is bad. What is bad is good. So, and it's not a halfway point. It's exactly the opposite of God. They're exactly what God wants them to do. You're exactly opposite of what God wants you to do. And he also made a wine press in it. Now I told you the church is the Tower of Babel. The wine press is the garden. Out there, the wilderness is the wine press, where all them people are being crushed by the world. You can't deny that. So he expected it to bring forth good grapes, but it brought forth wild grapes. Now, wild implies no law. You've kicked out the Ten Commandments, man. I mean, you don't even have to follow those. Jesus didn't mention it. You ain't got to do it. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judah, judge, please, between me and my vineyard. You choose Jesus, your brother, over your father. Did not Jesus curse the fig tree, his father? What more could have been done to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Why then, when I expected it to bring forth good grapes, did it bring forth wild grapes? And now, please, let me tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away its hedge, all your buildings, all that garbage. It's going to fall. It shall not be pruned. Oh no. I will take away its hedge, and it shall be burned. Weeds are burned. And break down its walls, and it shall be trampled down. I will lay it waste. It shall not be pruned or dug, but there shall come up briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain on it. I'm not going to put out that fire, and you need that holy rain to put out that fire. That's sad. And it is thorns, briars and thorns. It's their way or the highway. And that's not the Father. The Father sent his Son to save you. You were already dead. He could have left you there. Blew you off. Never cared whether or not. It's an agreement between the Lord of this world and the Lord of the spiritual world. Like I tell you, he looked upon the face of the waters and he was ashamed. That's Adam. When he left the garden, he knew, and they were ashamed. You know what I'm saying? When they had the knowledge of truth that they had totally messed with God's plan, they were like, whoa, let me back up here and see what we can do to fix it. Let's bring them up here. Let's give them a chance. This world is sin-free. All they have to do is obey them little bitty 10 commandments in the Spirit. That's it. That's all they got to do, and not eat of the swine, Don't listen to liars and fools and jackals and all this kind of sneaky people. And that's it. That's all they got to do. We just pass right on through here. And the Lord of this world will be, totally ecstatic for us. He knows the law, and He's going to hold you accountable to it because you claim it. That's the way home, through the law. It's the only way home. Everybody here has died. Everybody. I'm talking about the spirits. The flesh doesn't have a life. I speak of it. You wouldn't even recognize yourself in the mirror. Oh, maybe like a chimp. Oh man, that's me. Woohoo! But it's for the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel. The vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel. So that the vineyard is the flesh. Started from just one little bitty mustard seed and is branched out to all of what you see before you. Now I tell you, the abomination is the physical. That's the abomination, the physical realm. We've all had people die that were close to us, and pain and suffering that you went through that death. Now imagine that everything that has life not only came from you, but dies. Every child you ever birthed, that includes every blade of grass, that includes every bird, every molecule, every little bacteria, every virus, anything that considered life. When it dies, you feel it. Does not God know when every bird of the air falls? Spirits don't die, just flesh. So everything, every car that hits an animal on the road, the spirit feels it as a death of its own. You don't understand that. When you take life, the spirit knows. It feels it. Because it's not supposed to happen that way at all. This is our chance to get home. We just need to pass through here, not get stuck here. And we keep it going on and on and on and on and on, again and again. Could you imagine that? Every insect that dies in a day lives and dies in a day. How much pain can you take? How long suffering can you be? And the men of Judah are his pleasant plant inside. He looked for justice, but behold oppression, for righteousness, but behold a cry for help. The crushed. Woe to those who join house to house. Woe to those who join house to house. Wow. Let's say house to house. Judaism and Christianity are buddies, and Jews will spit on Christians, and yet we fight for them. Wow. Save their bacon from Hitler, and they'll spit on you. So grateful. Defeated Japan, and they're a great friend, are they not? Great friend. Wow. Woe to those who join house to house. They add field to field till there is no place. Now, in the flesh, this is all them people who are buying up everything. They're trying to herd you into the cities. You're easily controlled in the cities. They can put cameras everywhere. Now, they can't put cameras out here where I'm at. I'm 30 miles from the smallest big town. And it's not very many people in that big town around here. And they're trying to corral you in there for your own good. They can take better care of you and watch over you in the cities. Planned housing and be able to just dish you out. This is where you're going to live. This is where you're going to live. Where they may dwell alone in the midst of the land. In my hearing. Oh, and also, this is those who are evangelizing the world, and that's Muslims, Jews, and Christians, all who evangelize. When you're trying to get out there, they're beasts of the field. They're a different house than you. Like I say, trying to bring people into your fake God, your wooden idols, and all this. And we're not to fall for that. You don't fall for the gods of this land. You fall for, we came by way of the Father, the Spirit. We were spirits. We're dead. So the Spirit is what's guiding us, not the flesh. This guy will give you new flesh. We started as a spirit. When we were kicked out of the garden is when you got flesh. Ooh. You think the garden he planted was some physical? Why would a God of spirit create his children in flesh? Ew. Flesh has lots of problems. Death being the major one. An eternal God would have eternal children, not mortal. Wow. Now, in my hearing, the Lord of hosts said, truly many houses shall be desolate, great and beautiful ones without inhabitant. That's the house is the flesh. Many houses will be desolate, beautiful ones. And that's sad. That is really sad. Great and beautiful ones without inhabitant. For 10 acres of vineyard shall yield one bath, and a homer of seed shall yield one ephah. That's not good. Woe to those who rise early in the morning, that they may follow intoxicating drink. First thing Christians do when they get up in the morning, their feet hit the ground, is pray that intoxicating drink to fill them up. Who continue until night, till wine inflames them. They're drunk. Until night. Night is coming. I will raise you in the last day. Day 5 is the last day. You don't want to be here day 6. Because man is made in their image of flesh. The great tribulation starts then. This is just a little bitty swapping of generations. It's nothing compared to what's coming. Say, woe to those who rise early in the morning. Wow. The harp and the strings, the tambourine and the flute, and the wine in their feasts. But they do not regard the work of the Lord. The work of the Lord, he controls both good, bad, and indifferent. There is no sin. There is nothing you can judge here. It's only God's will here. Only those who do the will of the Father in heaven see heaven, right? So it's God's will, not your will. You don't have no power of judgment at all. When God comes and taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, you wake up, you're the judge, you let me know. Because he's pretty much labeled them in here. I would know you. Nor consider the operation of his hands. You see that? He's guiding all these. Doesn't the Lord have everybody in his right hand? So he's leading them around. But no, you know better than him. Therefore, my people have gone into captivity, church, religions, because they have no knowledge. Their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst. Therefore, Sheol has enlarged itself and opened its mouth beyond measure. That's you calling everybody in there. 2.5 billion followers in Christianity. Their glory and their multitude and their pomp. And he who is jubilant shall descend into it. People shall be brought down, each man shall be humbled, and the eyes of the lofty shall be humbled. But the Lord of hosts shall be exalted in judgment, and God, who is holy, shall be hallowed in righteousness. The Lord of hosts is not God. The Lord of hosts shall be exalted in judgment, and God, who is holy, shall be hallowed in righteousness. So you have to have the Lord of hosts first. First. Yeah. And then God, who is holy, shall be hallowed in righteousness. Then the lambs shall feed in their pasture, and in the waste places the fat ones, strangers, shall eat. You see that? The lamb shall feed in their pasture. That's church. Woe to those who draw iniquity with cords of vanity. Yeah, we're better than them. And sin as if it were a cart rope. That means you just carrying it around, boy. You have to, you got a bunch of sins. You're carrying a cart around. They say, let him make speed and hasten his work. And may we see it, that we may see it. See, that's them calling down for judgment upon them. And let the counsel of the Holy One of Israel draw near and come, that we may know it. You're going to get the judge, stand right there with Jesus and judge everybody, right? Come on, baby. This is the day he's coming, right? No. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil. Church. Who put darkness for light and light for darkness. Who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. They think they're righteous. I judge no man, including myself. My Father shows mercy upon whom he wants. All we have to do is go home, though. That's it. That's the only requirement. Head on home. Come on. I noticed in the prodigal son, when the son got home, the father didn't say, oh man, I can't believe you're coming back, dude. I already gave you all your stuff. Get the heck out of here. No. The father clothed him in what he had. No problem. Gave it right to him. Sat at his table, the father's table, not the servant's table. All that. Never said, hey, don't come back here no more. Always welcome home. Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes. Woe to men mighty at drinking wine. Those are those guys that love Jesus so much. It's the only wine. Jesus is the only one who gives wine in the whole book. Can't add, can't take away. Jesus is the only one who gives wine. He's not talking about your liquor store down the street. Woe to men valiant for mixing intoxicating drinks. That's those preachers that you love to just swoon over, that just got that sorcerer's tongue, that just deception within everything they say. Lies. Who justify the wicked for a bribe. Yeah, come on over here. Jesus is going to protect you from your father. You ran right to it. Instead of going home, you went to your brother's house. Therefore, As the fire devours the stubble and the flame consumes the chaff, so the root will be as rottenness, and their blossom will ascend like dust, because they have rejected the law of the Lord of hosts, and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel. Therefore the anger of the Lord is aroused against his people. He has stretched out his hand against them, and stricken them, and the hills trembled. Their carcasses were as refuge in the midst of the streets. I'm going to stop there. It's just more destruction. And I want to read some of the Gnostic anyway. But this is to people who drink wine. I like water. Just fine. Wine. Yeah. A little wine's good for the digestion, but stay away from strong drink. Right? That's Christianity. That strong drink, all they have is bread and wine. And unleavened bread at that. Give me just a second. I'm going to top off my coffee here. And we're going to look at this Gnostic, all right? A Christian wouldn't fleshly commit murder. You couldn't get them to kill somebody or anything like that, but they'll condemn somebody to hell for not believing the way they do. But they would, and they can, they'll commit murder in the spirit, but they won't commit murder in the flesh. See, that's what them 10 Commandments are. See, they're training. If you take the flesh and you instill them 10 Commandments within yourself, that helps you to start training that spirit that was in hell that is given a second chance. Does that make sense? They were in hell. They're not the ones you're supposed to be listening to. But we're going to take a look at this here. Now, I think we left off right here at 62, I think. It is to those who are worthy of my mysteries that I tell my mysteries. Do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Now, your left hand, if somebody is holding you in your right hand, Jesus is holding you in your holding you by his right hand, right? That means you're in his left. If you're at the right hand of Jesus, he's in your left. Don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Your right hand, whom are you holding? Are you holding on to the Father? Or are you holding on? See, the left hand of God is saved for who? For you to hold in your right hand. You know what I'm saying? If you're holding God the Father in your right hand for dear life, don't let Jesus know that, right? Jesus would be your left hand. Jesus said, there was a rich man who had much money. He said, I shall put my money to use, so that I may sow, reap, plant, and fill my storehouse with produce, with the result that I shall lack nothing. Such were his intentions. But that same night he died. Let him who has ears hear. Now listen, you figure that guy right there, he had much money. He said, there was a rich man who had much money. He said, I shall put my money to use, so that I may sow, reap, plant, and fill my storehouse with produce, with the result that I shall lack nothing. Now, this is in reference to everything out here in the world that is spiritual. I will sow. A rich man is rich in spirit. This isn't all the people that are sitting in church just waiting for Jesus to show. They're building up their riches in a storehouse. They're getting plenty of holy fire and they're drowning in holy water. I mean, they got plenty of riches, okay? And they're just building up a storehouse, and then, bam, they die. Don't do nothing with it. You know, they keep saying, oh, one of these days I'm going to go down and I'm going to help some homeless people. One of these days I'm going to go down and help them do this. One of these days I'm going to actually give some money away that hurts, you know, something like that. But, you know, that's what that's in reference to right there. Such were his intentions, but that same night he died. You know, to me, that says a lot about church. And I've mentioned it before, you know, they'll have all this money and they'll, when they die, they'll leave it to some charity, thinking that, oh, that's a good deed, and never gave it away while they could have still made more and never suffered. You know, they never suffered. No, I'm going to keep it until I don't need it no more. Jesus said a man had received visitors, and when he had prepared the dinner, he sent his servant to invite the guests. He went to the first one and said to him, my master invites you. And he said, I have claims against some merchants. They are coming to me this evening. I must go and give them my order. I ask to be excused from dinner. He went to another and said to him, my master has invited you. He said to him, I have just bought a house and am required for the day. I shall not have any spare time. He went to another and said to him, my master invites you. My friend is going to get married, and I am to prepare the banquet. I shall not be able to come. I ask to be excused from the dinner. Wow. He went to another and said to him, my master invites you. He said to him, I have just bought a farm, and I am on my way to collect the rent. I shall not be able to come. I ask to be excused. The servant returned to his master. Those whom you invited to dinner have asked to be excused. The master said to his servant, go outside in the streets and bring back those whom you happen to meet, so that they may dine, businessmen and merchants who will not enter the places of my Father. Okay, as you go down through there and you count the people that were there were 5. Okay, the 5 husbands of the woman at the well that did not come home to the Father. Okay, those are the 5 husbands of the woman at the well. They were given to Jesus, the judge. He calls them by name. It was just a pail out of the well. Many spirits are still with her. Many. See, it's a spiritual thing, not a fleshly thing. You know, he didn't need a drink of water. He has food you do not know of. He doesn't need that. He can go 40 days without food and water. No man on the planet can go 40 days without water. Spiritual water, fools. But that's 5. The 5th guy goes out and gets everybody. Jesus, I tell you that. He covers everybody. But businessmen and merchants are not allowed. That's them. They sell salvation for 10%. They sell it. Because without that 10%, you're not saved. That's pretty clear amongst all of them. You have to pay your taxes, to be, give to Caesar what is Caesar's. That's not hard to get, is it? That's Jesus, right? The fifth one. And there was a good man who owned a vineyard. He leased it to a tenant farmer, two tenant farmers. Now, there was a good man who owned a vineyard. The Lord of hosts, Adam, owns all of it. Okay? He leased it to tenant farmers so that they might work it and he might collect the produce from them. He sent his servant so that the tenants might give him the produce of the vineyard. They seized his servants and beat him, all but killing him. The servant went back and told his master. That's Jesus, baby. Okay? Well, prophets, how's that? That's a prophet. Servant is a prophet. He sends his son, and they killed him. And perhaps he did not recognize, the master said, perhaps he did not recognize him. He sent another servant. Now, the first one was Jeremiah, he sent. The second one was Jesus, the son. The owner sent his son and said, perhaps they will show respect to my son, because the tenants knew that it was he who was their heir to the vineyard. They seized him and killed him. Let him who has ears hear. Jesus said, show me the stone which the builders have rejected. That one is the cornerstone. The builders, the ones who created the us in their image, right? Rejected the serpent. And that's the only stone they rejected, right? Why did they reject that one? And now, without Jesus, everybody else is going to hell. It doesn't say that. Jesus said, if one who knows the all still feels a personal deficiency, he is completely deficient. See, I struggle with this right here. I know the all. But like I've said before, my voice. But my voice will not be heard until after. And that's okay with me. We have to realize that when we're called, it's for a purpose. It's not, and it's not about me being adequate. My Father will make me adequate. That's clear in here. He gave Moses a voice. He helped David slay the lion, kept Daniel from the fire. All these things that the Father will do. He will make it right. So, that me worrying about it is the flesh thing. It says, don't worry about it. I will give you the words and things like this. And I have to trust in that. That's faith. If I blindly believe it, I just believe the words on the page. Don't care what anybody says. If it's different than what's on the page, they're a liar. It's just that simple. Blessed are you when you are hated and persecuted. Whenever you have been persecuted, they will find no place. Wherever they have been persecuted, they will find no place. Now, the church is not persecuted. The church persecutes the world, and they're fighting back against that. There's a big difference. You're telling them they can't do what they want in a land of the free and the home of the brave, and we're created with free will. We can do right or wrong, whether we want to or not. It's totally up to us. We can do whatever the heck we want, and you have no say over that. Everybody here is created with free will. You cannot judge another man's free will. That's an oxymoron. In a land of no law, what can you use to judge another? God's will. That's it. Blessed are they who have been persecuted within themselves. It is they who have truly come to know the Father. Blessed are the hungry, for the belly of him who desires will be filled. Now, that's, hunger for meat, not bread and wine. That's the appetizer. Jesus said, that which you have will save you if you bring it forth from yourselves. That which you do not have within you will kill you if you do not have it within you. You see that? Within yourself to save you. Not me, not Jesus. He didn't say, I'm going to save you. He says, within yourself. So there's another lie church tells you. And this is in the Catholicism Bible. So, but Protestants would say, it's not in my King James. You just have the wrong volume. Because it is. Jesus said, I shall destroy this house, and no one will be able to build it. Blank. Of course not. This house, this flesh, and it's going to destroy the flesh. Yeah, he killed the eye, that punctured all the spots. He ain't leaving. He don't want to go. A man said to him, tell my brother to divide my father's possessions with me. And he said to him, O man, who has made me a divider? He turned to his disciples and said to him, I am not a divider, am I? You see that? Tell my brother to divide my father's possessions with me. You want to go out there and gather all them people, evangelizing them. The people going to hell, the satanic worshipers. I keep calling people in, and you just keep going. You think Satan is some dude who professes Satan. The whole world is deceived. Why would Satan be right out in the open? That's for fools. That's just stupidity on a pedestal. The harvest is great, but the laborers are few. Beseech the Lord, therefore, to send out laborers to the harvest. O Lord, there are many around the drinking trough, but there is nothing in the cistern. Wow, there's plenty of wine. Many are standing at the door, but it is the solitary who will enter the bridal chamber. If you're part of 2.5 billion, you're not very solitary. It's going to be a crowded doorway. The merchant was shrewd. He sold the merchandise, and bought the pearl alone for himself. You too seek this unfailing and enduring treasure, that no moth come near to devour, and no worm destroys. Worms destroy flesh, organic matter. Not the spirit, though. You look good on the outside. Good. You're drinking from a filthy cup, though. Jesus said, it is I who am the light, which is above them all. It is I who am the all. From me did the all come forth, and unto me did the all extend. Split a piece of wood, and I am there. Lift up the stone, and you will find me there. Wow. Jesus said, why have you come out into the desert? To see a reed shaken by the wind, and to see a man clothed in fine garments like your kings and your great men? Upon them are the fine garments, and they are unable to discern the truth. See, they have beautiful garments. They look good on the outside, but they cannot discern the truth. They're saying on the one breath, love everybody, and then they go behind closed doors and say everybody but them's going to hell. And even in their heart, they're condemning the dude standing right next to them. Because they're going to shine brighter than him. A woman from the crowd said to him, "Blessed are the womb which bore you, and the breasts which nourished you." And he said to her, "Blessed are those who have heard the word of the Father and have truly kept it." Not the word of Jesus. For there will be days when you will say, "Blessed are the womb which has not conceived, and the breast which has not given milk." Coming to a day soon. He who has recognized the world has found the body, but he who has found the body is superior to the world. Let him who has grown rich be king. Let him who possesses power renounce it. I desire no kingdoms. The Lord of this world can have it all. I want nothing from here. He who is near me is near the fire. He who is far from me is far from the kingdom. Wow. The images are manifest to man, but the light in them remains concealed in the image of the light of the Father. He will become manifest, but his image will remain concealed by his light. Jesus said, "When you see your likeness, you rejoice. But when you see your image, which come into being before you, which neither die, not become manifest, how much you will have to bear." You see that? But when you see your image, which came into being before you, the spirit inside came way before you, and which neither die, not become manifest, how much you will have to bear. If you haven't become one, you're standing there all by your lonesome. And we cover that. That's not a blessing. Adam came into being from a great power and a great wealth, but he did not become worthy of you, for had he been worthy, he would not have experienced death. Jesus said, "The foxes have their holes and the birds have their nest, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head and rest." Jesus said, "Wretched is the body that is dependent upon a body, and wretched is the soul that is dependent on these two." Wretched is the body who depends upon a body. You're not becoming one with that body. You will be the soul that is dependent on these two. You're supposed to be the Son of God. You're supposed to rise on your own, not relying on somebody else to do this for you. It's all within here. Jesus said, "The angels and the prophets will come to you and give to you those things you already have. And you too give them those things which you have, and say to yourselves, when will they come and take what is theirs?" Jesus said, "Why do you wash the outside of the cup? Do you not realize that he who made the inside is the same one who made the outside?" Jesus said, "Come unto me, for my yoke is easy and my lordship is mild, and you will find repose for yourself." Wow. That's true. You count on Jesus to give you your rest. It says not until you die. Listen to this. Jesus said, the angels and the prophets will come to you and give to you those things you already have. And you too give them those things which you have, and say to yourselves, when will they come and take what is theirs? You see, this is all that spirits are going to be yanked from you. Man. They said to him, tell us who you are, so that we may believe in you. He said to them, you read the faces of the sky and of the earth, but you have not recognized the one who is before you, and you do not know how to read this moment. Seek, and you will find. Yet what you asked me about in former times, and which I did not tell you then, now I do desire to tell you. Tell, but you do not inquire after it. Do not give what is holy to dogs, lest they throw them on the dung heap. Do not throw the pearls to swine, lest they blank blank. Jesus said, he who seeks will find, and he who knocks will be let in. If you have money, do not lend it at interest, but give it to the one from whom you will not get it back. You don't do that, though. The kingdom of the Father is like a certain woman. He took a little leaven, concealed it in some dough, and made it into large loaves. Let him who has ears hear. Now, the kingdom of the Father is like a certain woman. She took a little leaven. Okay? Jesus, Passover, only unleavened bread. No leavening. Like I say, there's no spirit inside unleavened bread. Jesus said, the kingdom of the Father is like a certain woman. She took a little leaven, concealed it in some dough, and made it into large loaves. Let him who has ears hear. You see that? Just a little, and then it grows with inside. That's that mustard seed becoming a great bush, right? Man. I'm going to call it right there today. No, hold on. Let's see. 97. There's only a few more, man. Maybe I'll go away. We'll do these tomorrow. And, it's not hard to listen to what Scripture tells us. It's 100% firm that we're the problem. Nobody else. I can't say anybody else is a problem. I'm the called sinner that needs to repent, not somebody else. I can't hold anybody else to a law they weren't called to. That's for daggum Skippy. So we have to take all things into consideration before we judge another. We don't have that responsibility here. That's a big responsibility. And you have to know a lot more than what we have put in front of our face. The things that are hidden will be judged too. May the Holy Spirit guide you. May God, the Father, the Creator of us all, protect your soul.